Hey everyone, I just wanted to go over this project with you, and this is a literature review assignment. Now, you may have heard of a literature review before, or you may think you know what it is, but I wanted to provide some clarification today as a general start to your project, and then you will go through another lecture with me at some point about what is a literature review more in depth. I'm not going to read everything off of this assignment sheet, so please make sure that you go back and review the one provided to you, but I wanted to hit some key points to make sure that you felt comfortable. So, we are going to be writing a literature review that summarizes and synthesizes what current research says about a topic in the social sciences. I do not want you making an argument, and you should not take a stance. This should be a neutral review of what is being said. Traditionally, you could then take that review and make an argument and do your own research, but we don't have time to do that, unfortunately, in this class, so this is where we're going to stop. So, you'll see in this assignment at a glance, you kind of get some of the nuts and bolts, like we're summarizing and synthesizing. We need to use a minimum of 3 to 5 scholarly journals. It's going to be an APA style, and I'm looking for 2.5 to 4 pages, not including title or your reference page. So that's 2.5 pages of synthesis, but remember that's double-spaced for an APA format, so it won't be as daunting as it sounds. I gave you some general ideas about what a literature review, and it's not here, but like I said, I'm going to talk more in depth later, so I'm going to skip that for now. What's really important is that the sources you're going to use in this essay are scholarly journal articles. That means they have to be from a peer-reviewed academic journal. It cannot be from a blog, it cannot be from Wikipedia or a podcast. As interesting and informative as sources like that can be, for the purpose of this, we want scholarly research. And to be considered scholarly, you have to be published in a peer-reviewed journal. I'm looking for each article to be at least 4 pages long, so make sure you have access to the full article, not just the abstract or part of it. It needs to be published 2015 or later because 10 years is about depending on the field, is about the limit of how relevant a source can be considered. And then I do want you to pull articles from different journals. So if you have 3 articles, I'm looking for 3 different journals. That's because some journals may have different perspectives or approaches than others, so we are trying to get a 360 view of the topic, not just one side focused. So how are we going to do this? Where do we start? This seems really daunting. I don't know where to go next. Great questions. Glad you asked. So I've broken it down for you into some steps. First up is to choose a research question. It needs to be from the social sciences, but you can go anywhere in the social sciences. I've given you some examples here. If some of them resonate with you and you want to run with it, great. That's fine. I don't mind. But these are just to try to show you kind of what we're looking for. Once you have your research question, which you will have to get approved, you're then going to go to step 2, which is finding your sources. We'll use the library database. Spoiler alert, we're going to go over how to do that if we haven't already in class, but we're going to go back to the library database and review how to use that. We're going to find articles. Now, notice that it says select 3 to 5 articles that meet all the requirements. I hate to tell you this, but you're going to read more than 3 to 5 articles for this project. That's part of being a researcher. It's part of what goes into things like this. You may read an article that sounded great from its abstract, and then you read it and you're like, yeah, no, I can't use this. So don't just assume the first 3 to 5 articles you find are going to work for you. You need to be careful and read through them, and you're probably going to read sources more than once. You may read it more than twice, because you may read through them all, decide, okay, these ones deal with each other, and then you're going to read through it again and narrow it down even more potentially. Or when you read through it that second time, then you can start taking your notes and start organizing them. So this research is not one to wait till last minute. Can students procrastinate and get it done at last minute? Yes. Do I want you to do that? No. I want your best, not your stressed. You're also going to turn into me a research log, which is a separate assignment. So do look ahead for that to know what I'm going to be looking for from you. But the research logs is, the goal of it is that I can see that you're on the right track in terms of source usage. And if you have any questions, we can handle them then. Then you're going to write your literature review once we've gone through all of this. I've broken down for for your introduction, each body paragraph, and conclusion what kind of information to include. Gave you like some really good stepping stones here, so make sure you use that. A lot of the requirements that you have to have are listed here. So like name the sources, give the full titles and author names for all 3 to 5 sources. That's a requirement. So do check this list out. And then I gave you some ideas of what to consider with your audience and your style, and then some final advice for you. So make sure you read through this. There's some helpful hints. The other really great thing for you here is this rubric. Again, you can use this as a checkpoint to make sure you've done it. Do I have an APA paper format with a title page, the running head, which for you guys, remember, is just the page number as an APA student, double space, 12-point font, check. And you can move down this as a checklist, and it tells you exactly where I'm going to be looking and how points are going to be weighted. So you do have this rubric there for you. I've tried to make it as clear as I can while not making it too limited to allow for some flexibility, but you do have your rubric. Another thing to consider is that I have put 2 student samples in Blackboard for you. I do want to note that while the student sample is meant to be a good example, I can't say that it's perfect. There are going to be things that need to be fixed, or maybe they missed the mark, and I've tried to catch all of those and leave you a comment if something's wrong, saying, hey, yes, this is here, but this is how it needs to be corrected. Or like in one of them, there's a paragraph that doesn't have any quotes, but it was a good paragraph if paraphrasing was all we needed. So I left a little comment on it saying, good integration of sources and conversation between scholarly articles, but it's missing their quotes. So again, they're good examples of what I'm looking for to give you a base of where to start, but don't assume that they are perfect and that the student who wrote that lost 0 points because they might have made mistakes. If you have questions, let me know, and I can't wait to see what topics you are interested in.